Alright, we're doing more kanji, moving into the third wave of N2 kanji. Starting out with mune, chest or breast. So I kind of think of this as, again, on the left we have a body part, and over here we have, to me it looks like something kind of concealed. It has kind of many layers enclosing it and supporting it. So this is chest or breasts. You'll hear this referring to women's breasts. Also, kind of your inner feelings, your heart, whatever. This is rhythm or law, I'm pretty sure. That on the left we have our kind of movement kanji, to go do something, up and at 'em. And then on the right we have kind of like a matter, this kind of like abstract concept type thing. So something that's kind of abstract but it's moving, to me, is kind of like a rhythm, or something that's abstract but it's enforceable. It's like a law. Something like that, I suppose. This is deliver or reach, I'm fairly sure. Yeah. So on the bottom, this is like to have the honor to. You know, it's like the kind of well, I'm not really sure how to describe it as a radical, but here we have a doorway. So we're kind of taking something to the doorway. We're doing our service to deliver something out to the doorway, or to kind of reach out and receive something, that kind of thing. I think this is escape or flee. I started reading outskirts, but I'm pretty sure this is escape or flee. Oh, no. Oh, what? Okay, alright, I got a little mixed up. Sure, on the left, this is a radical is old, and this is like that kind of like slicing, like kind of aspect of it. This is back or behind, so it's kind of like a body part again, and then if you think these are kind of like your shoulders, like your kind of limbs coming out from the top of your back. This is like your body seen from the back. So you can see here it's used for literally the back of the body, but then also just kind of behind lots of stuff. This is outskirts or suburb. So this is like mix or mingle, and this is kind of metropolitan area. So if you kind of think, I don't know, for me this kind of like X just kind of makes me think like not this metropolitan area, like not a large group of people, but rather the outskirts of that region. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. There's probably a better way to remember it. But I think of this as kind of like a negating, like not in the city, but out in the outskirts. This is a field, and this refers very literally to an agricultural field. So we have this, which can be used as like a rice paddy. We've used that as a radical many times before as a rice paddy. And then on the left, there's fire. So if you kind of think of like a farmland, maybe they've got some sort of fire going. I don't know, I grew up on a farm. We often had fires, burning sticks and stuff. It's like a field, sure. This is to preserve, I think. I think of this as protect, so I think it's also preserve. So it's like a person, this is who's doing the preserving, I think. And then we have this tree with like a mouth on the top. So that mouth you can think of as like a wonderful fruit that has grown on the tree, and we have to protect it, perhaps. Something like that. This is he, I'm pretty sure, kare. This is one that I always get mixed up on because it's really hard to remember anything for like these sort of pronouns and stuff. But yeah, it's like to go to a degree or something. I guess, I don't know. I really don't know a good way to remember it. And I often get it mixed up. This is fragrance. Yeah, it's fragrance. So it's like a tree. This is kind of like our fancy tree, our measuring tree, as we've described it before. And it's burning up because it's on the sun. So if you think of like a really fancy wood that you're burning up so that it releases a certain fragrance, well, that's fragrance. There we go. This is worship, I'm pretty sure. And once again, I'm like quite paranoid that the font is wrong, because I think it should look a little different than this. But it looks quite like this, at least. So on the left, we have like a hand. Here we can think of it as a hand in prayer, perhaps. And then this is like a very elaborate temple or something. It has many floors and eaves and such, a tall pagoda or something like that. And you're worshiping at it. This is to pick up, I think. Yeah. So it's like a hand. And then here is like meet. Things meeting together. So when your hand is like meeting together, it's picking up something. The hand is coming together to lift up something. Things like that. This is seal. So we have like ground and ground. That's a lot of ground. And then this kind of protection sacred thing. So the ground is layered up over top of what we're trying to protect. It's been sealed away. This is a fountain or a spring. So we have water here on the bottom, and on the top we have white. So if we think of like white water coming out of something, that's like a fountain. And when it's kind of bubbling out, it's white. So yeah. And this is the sen of onsen. The on being hot water. It's like a hot water spring. Easy enough. This is favor or blessing. So on the bottom we have heart. It's something to do with kind of emotions and kind of the subjective experience or whatever. On the top we have a rice field kind of being measured, I suppose. So if we kind of think of this is kind of like a benevolent action that the rice is being parceled out and given, people are given amnesty, some sort of favor, some sort of gift unto them, kind of getting that feeling from it. This is angry. This is yet again maybe kind of a misogynistic kanji, but you know, that's just the era they come from. Because on the top we have a woman, and then we have kind of like mixing here, and then we have the emotion that that produces, which apparently is anger. I'm not a fan, but that's just how it is. This is to know, I thought? No, that's, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm getting mixed up. This is the blossom. Yeah. So it's like a mouth for some reason. I guess like the opening of the mouth. And then here we have like heaven with things kind of sprouting out of it. So this is, I don't know, just picturing things in bloom and such. So what's going on there? This is castle. So we have like some ground, and then we have this kind of, this sort of form shows up a lot of in like military type things. So if you kind of think of these as like elaborate castle grounds with like a defensive wall and strategic armaments and stuff like that, that's all adding up to a castle. This is descent? Yeah, okay. So on the left here, apparently it's a hill, if this kind of B shape is on the left. And then this is sort of like the mingling, mixing type thing. Well, kind of, no. I've referred to this as a different number of different things. I also said it's kind of like the slice or individual aspect of. And then I don't really know what's going on with this one. But at any rate, it means descend. I guess the hill aspect of it is what you should focus on. This is specialty or exclusive. So again, this is like the benevolence thing that we saw before for favor or grace or things like that. But instead of the heart being underneath, it's like the protection one. If you think of like what's been given to you that you protect, it's like what's exclusive to you, what you're keeping sacred individually from everyone else. Something along these lines, I suppose. It's a good one to know. There's also like tokubatsu and stuff, another way to say special. I'm not sure kind of which one is used where, but It's a good one. So second. So again, we have our kind of measurement tree, and then small. So it's kind of like the smallest unit of measurement, in this case for time. So this is second not as like first second, but second as in like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Oh, I'm doing that so fast. 1, 2, 3. I had to look at the timer to see how long a second actually was. This is to wither. It's quite straightforward. We have a tree that has gotten old. So it's withering away. This is watch over or care for. I've noticed this kanji more and more in a lot of circumstances where I was surprised that it was being used. Recently I was trying to read a postcard in Chinese. It's a long story. But this was being used for like seeing a location, like coming to see a tourist destination. At any rate, so it has quite a lot of uses. But it's like, you can see this is an eye, and then this is like kind of an elaborate thing being watched over by the eye. So yeah, it's in a lot of different looking situations. I don't really know how all it's used yet, but that's what it is. This is thrust, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I don't really know why. So this is like hat with human legs and then a big thing. It's thrust, and then all sorts of other stuff too, it looks like. This is a weird one. Yeah, I've thought of it before kind of as like, just sort of like an action scene that this kanji is flying up, thrusting into this. Not that kind of action, but let's just move on. But maybe just try to think. There's some sort of action happening here. This is shallow or superficial. So we have like water. And then this thing I think of kind of as the remainder, as like kind of the scraps or the leftovers or things like that. So if we just have like a scrap of water, that's like a very shallow pond of water or whatever. Sure. This is crimson. Right, right. So we have a thread on the left, which does look like it's in the right font now. So maybe I fixed that. I don't know. I did try some things, but I'm not sure if they did anything. So often with threads, it's referring to a type of color. I guess you can think of it as like a thread of that color. Like dark blue and stuff, usually for kind of like not the basic colors, but like a more intense version of a color or a specific kind of subset of a color. So here like crimson being kind of like that bright orangey red. So it's a thread and then craft, like something manufactured or made. So you can kind of think of like, I don't know, maybe in manufacturing quite often they'll use red thread to mark things or to indicate things, something like that. Or you know, they always talk about the red thread of destiny. Maybe it's because it's crafting your destiny, red thread of fate, whatever. This is cup, I'm pretty sure. So it's like tree and then down. So it's kind of like a basin of a tree or whatever you can think of as like a cup. Cheers. This is also used as like a counter. If you have so many glasses of whatever, this is what comes after the number to indicate that it's referring to that quantity. This is cramped or narrow, I'm quite sure. So here we have what I've learned recently is like an animal radical. I don't know why. I don't know how to think of it as an animal radical. I've just kind of memorized it. No logic as far as I can tell. But on the right we have like coming together, arriving, things like that. So if you have like a whole bunch of animals all arriving, that's going to be a cramped space. It's going to be a narrow space. Things being too confined. Also meaning heart attack, apparently. Cramped heart symptoms. Okay. This is sand. It's so straightforward. Rock, little rocks. That's sand. It's a good one. This is plain or original, I think. I think of this as meadow. And I also remembered it at one point it being like, yeah, like origin. So this shows up all over the place, I guess. The original atom, field work, and then also just like a literal plain, like a field or whatever. It's kind of interesting. This homonym or sorry, like more of a a homophone overlap here, where we use plain to refer to both like a field, you know, like a blank flat field, and also we use it to refer to like the basic option, no additions, kind of like the starting point, you know? And here they also have it referring to field. It's not a homophone, but it's a same spelling, a homonym. And then also things like the origin or cause of something. So that's kind of interesting. There seems to be somewhat of a parallel development there. This is soft or pliable, I'm pretty sure. I think of this as tender, so I think that must be a, yeah. And this is the soft way, this is how judo is described. So, geez, this is a bizarre kanji. On the top, it's like private sword. So maybe kind of like a secret sword, and you're kind of like hanging out underneath a tree. You're giving this aura of openness and flexibility and pliability, something like that. I don't know. This is, I thought, yeah, step. But it's kind of like not just, you know, walking and taking a step, but kind of like steps in a progression of something. So yeah, like by degrees, your grade or level or stage, things like that. So to me, it looks quite ideogrammic that this is kind of like the ladder that you're climbing up. These are your feet climbing up the ladder. This is maybe something assisting you or competing with you, I don't know. This is stay overnight. I have no idea why. It's water and white. It means stay overnight. But I don't know why. It's a cute kanji though. I like this one, and I associate it with like sleepovers in anime and stuff, or the overnight training camp in Saki. That uses this kanji. This is pinch or between, so it kind of looks a lot like cramped or narrow, but here instead of a whole bunch of animals rushing in and making you feel cramped, it's just your hand. So you're pinching something, you're squeezing something between your hands, something like that. This is arrival, I think. Yeah, okay. Threw me off for a second. So this is our kind of public, private things dealing with that nature, and then ground. So it's like you kind of step on that ground. You're kind of moving from one area to another. The public sphere to the private sphere, or vice versa, because of this new stepping on the ground, and kind of like the systematic look at that as, oh, they've arrived, or, you know, like they've, yeah. This is all or everything. So if you kind of think of like these being like kind of our comparison radicals, so it's got everything from this to this, and it's all like white underneath. So I don't know, you can think that there's like a totally white void. What am I talking about here? That kind of stretches outside, and everything not in that is like the top part. So that's like everything. This is like Mina. You know, people will say that all the time. Mina-san, everyone, Mina-sama. It's like a more formal everyone, I guess. This is roll up or coil. So I don't know. You can think of this as kind of like something kind of like folding this bottom thing, which is being wrapped up. I kind of think of it like that. I don't know. Because this kind of looks like some sort of, like all I can do is this gesture. Is this gesture helping? If you picture like a cylinder Rolling it up? Is that helping? Can you see what I'm picturing here? This is leather or reform. I didn't know it also meant reform, but I knew it meant leather. And I don't really know a good way to think of it meaning leather. There's a few that kind of look like this, where it's just this sort of symmetrical shape with a variety of boxes and lines. And I have a really hard time keeping them all straight in my head. So leather has line. These are kind of like cow horns, maybe. It's like the cow's face and a big wide cow mouth, something like that. I don't know. This is rare, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So this is like the king, and then we have this I think of as kind of like a shape. It's also used in radicals referring to like experts or discipline. So in any rate, it's sort of like a kind of the king owns it, and it's this sort of dedicated specialty thing. It sure sounds rare. Mezarashi. Probably heard people say that before. Unintelligible language, interesting. This has like Chinese in it. That seems mean. This is plan, so I think preposition or idea. So it's like a roof, and then a woman, and then a tree. So it's like, we can think of this as a feminist kanji to kind of undo the various misogynist readings we've kind of been forced into. In this one, it's like some women have gathered under a tree to plan out what's best for their community, to kind of discuss the troubles of the day and such. That sounds good, right? I don't know. It's a nice idea. We gotta fight back somehow. This is escape or flee. We got mixed up before. So we have a road. Somebody's going down the road. This is like an omen or a prophecy or something like that. So what is the road you have to take when there is a terrible, terrible prophecy that disaster is coming? Well, that's the road of escape. That's the road you take when you flee. So that's what's going on there. This is pillar or post. So we have a tree representing the pillar itself. And then this is like like a master, like a lord or something. So I think of it as like, there might be other supports, there might be walls, but in the center of the house is like one big pillar holding up the whole thing. It's the master pillar. That's kind of how I think of that one. This is eaves. Not really sure why. There's like a vehicle and then that drying rack that we've referred to before. So I'm not really sure. Oh yeah, do you remember last time we got mud and I started freaking out because I thought it should be swamp and that it wasn't rendering properly? Well, I actually just broke into a new set of kanji on my phone kanji study app where I primarily study kanji. And in that set, there was the mud that we saw here. So they're coming to me in different orders. Like that one isn't based on the NLP or JLPT levels, but is based on the age at which school children learn them. So there's certain things that I've learned out of order. At any rate, I just thought of that now for some reason. But yeah, so I had no reason to freak out. I just legitimately hadn't seen that one before. Okay, this is milk. This is also used as slang for breasts. So this is like a kid down here. Kid is super excited. Yay, I'm getting milk. And this is like a breast. It's like the teardrop shape of a breast, maybe? I don't know. There's probably a better way to think of it. This is also kind of like a hook or something. So if you think that you're like lowering down milk for children to drink or whatever. But yeah, if you've heard chichi as a slang for breasts, that's from milk, actually. But normally you hear it pronounced as nyu, like gyunyu, is the sort of milk you're going to be encountering most of the time, mostly, I would think, which is milk from a cow. This is, I thought this would be like, oh, maybe it's wild? Yeah, okay. Desolate. Yeah, that's the word I was thinking of. I was like, this is like ruined or like Yeah, wild, I guess, too. So we have grass, we have like a stream, and in the middle we have something forgotten. So it's like the grass is growing out of control, the stream is just flowing everywhere. Things have gone wild, things have become desolate because people forgot to take care of it. They forgot about the stream, they forgot about the grass. So it's like that, huh? This is old or the late. Yeah, we saw this one before. It threw me off for a second because, yeah, we've done that one. Okay, so let's run through them again. So get rid of this ugly 97. What? Oh, soft pliable. It's looking for tender. Field. Watch over. Plan. Proposition idea. Cramped. Back. Flee. Roll up. Eaves. Angry. I never explained what Eaves was. I just got distracted by thinking about swamp. I have no good way of remembering Eaves. I used to get that one wrong a lot. Pillar, fragrance, protect, preserve, worship, specialty, rare, oh yeah, descend, shallow, grade, step, pick up, stab, thrust, all, favor, fountain, arrival, desolate, wilds, source, plains, castle, rhythm, pinch, breasts, deliver, crimson, wither, old, leather, cups. Got a lot of things that are like breast adjacent with this one. Key, bloom, sand, second, overnight stay, milk, outskirts, seal. All right, sweet. We're getting there. We're getting there. After the next one, we'll be more than halfway through N2, and I believe, let's figure this out. There is 5, 10, 20 N1s, and we've done 6, 10, 14, 17. So we're not halfway done yet in total, but we're getting closer. We're getting closer to halfway done. Yeesh, there's so many kanji. All right, that's all for now. Please join me for more kanji adventures soon.